Oh my god, dude. So the Tekken Talk Live just happened last night, and people are not happy. I think if you go anywhere on Twitter, social media, whatever, I think you're going to find that about 90% of the players are unhappy with what we just saw. Tekken 8 Season 2 is going to be an interesting season. That's really, I guess, the best word I can use to describe this. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be chaotic. We're 7 days away, 1 week away from actually having the new season in our hands. But based on what we saw, a lot of people are already they're not happy, and I have a few thoughts on this as well. Before I even go even further into the video, I just want to let you know, just a heads up, I am a little bit sick, so if I'm sniffling, coughing, clearing my throat, my bad, yo. I'm gonna try my best to not do it, but I'm gonna let you know right now I'm a little bit sick. But Tekken Talk. So I had a night to sleep on it, right? I watched the whole thing. I might upload my reaction in full, but I'm gonna just kind of break it down, okay? So I saw things that I both liked and disliked. So I kind of have like a notepad here of just the key points that stuck out to me. It's a lot. It was, over 2 hours. But I'm gonna go down the list, starting with just some trivial things up to the actual gameplay balances. So let me see here. What do I got? So going down the list, let's see. I guess what we should cover, just something very minor, very trivial. So you see how Tekken 8 has fan art, how artists have created fan art so you can use in your game, a character panel. This is cool. I don't like that it's a timed event, because what happens if you miss it? You have a set amount of time, so you could go into the Tekken Lounge and battle the ghost for the new fan art, so you could use in game. They give you a decent amount of time. But what happens if you miss it? Like, I don't like that it's a time thing. I hope that they recycle, they kind of rotate the art every now and then, kind of like the Fortnite shop where items come back. Because what if someone misses it? What if someone gets the game later? What if someone buys the game for Season 2 and they main Elisa, and then they don't get this cool art? So I think that they should, if it is a timed event for now, I think that it should be, it should rotate and have it released later on in the future. So overall, just a little minor complaint on my end for that. I like having fan art and whatever the heck. So I'm not going to talk about this. There's some trivial collabs, merch. I'm not even going to cover that. So next up, Esports World Cup. Tekken 8 is returning to that. No surprise there. No surprise there. Not really anything beyond it was expected. But what I am interested in, so this is something that is big, but at the same time, I don't like how they're going about this. So as you can see here, for the Tekken World Tour in 2025, there's going to be rule changes, right? When it comes to coaching, people have their ideas on coaching. Some people don't like coaching because they want players to actually figure it out themselves and adapt to what's going on. Other players are all for coaching. Hey, other games, other real life sports have coaching. Why is Tekken any different? So what I don't like here is that they're addressing the coaching issue, but they didn't double down on their stance. Because look, the first bullet point says, each tournament may establish its own rules. But then it goes on to say, if not specified, coaching is 1 time per match, only after losing the previous set, and only 1 minute and 1 coach. I like the second bullet point, but at the same time, why are you leaving it up to tournament discretion? You know what I'm saying? If this is a Tekken World Tour rule, this is your tournament, your organization that you're doing for your game, have one established rule set. Print it in stone. You know what I'm saying? Write it in stone, double down on it. Don't let it be up to tournament discretion, because now, every tournament may not follow this guideline that you've put out there. You know what I'm saying? And it should be one established rule set for every tournament in the TWT circuit. So I on one hand, okay, good, they addressed the coaching, but they didn't do it the right way, I think, because they should have just stuck to their guns. one rule set across all TWT, you get no say in the matter. So I don't like that they left it up to tournament discretion, because that means that things will change. It's not set in stone. On top of that, 1 minute and one coach. I don't know about y'all, but 1 minute is a little bit too long for me. 30 seconds is enough. I think 1 minute is too much. And if only the losing player is able to get coaching, I don't like that, because where does that leave the winner? You know, like the losing player is getting advice, but the winning player is not. Now, on the other hand, I understand that sometimes coaching the winner can be a little bit detrimental. It can kind of cause negative results. You know what I'm saying? Because like sometimes a player is doing so well that they receive coaching after winning, and then it kind of creates a mental block. You know what I'm saying? And then the winning player goes on to lose. But at the same time, I do think that there should also be the option of allowing the winning player to receive coaching if they want to. So 1 time per match, only after losing the previous set, 1 minute and one coach. I think the time limit should be reduced to 30 seconds. That's plenty. But overall, I like I said, I think they should have actually enforced this rule and not make it that every tournament has their own discretion, their own rule set. Enforce the rule. That should have been it. And then top 4 matches will be best out of 5. Loser semifinals will be first of 3. All good. Okay. So that's all I got to say about that. Now, going into the later on into the stream, we got a full, a basic look into Anna Williams. I should probably upload my raw reactions, first impressions as it happened to this. I probably will. But I was also just informed, I was just told that IGN released a basic starter guide for Anna Williams that showcases her moves a little bit more in detail, kind of, than what we got here in the in the Tekken Talk. So I'll probably watch that as well and upload it. But overall, my thoughts on Anna are, I think she's cool. She looks more or less the same, kind of. Like her core element of her gameplay is still there, but she obviously did get some changes. She got a new stance. It's called like Hammer Chance. The Bazooka stance as well, called Pleasure Time, whatever the heck. So overall, I like the way Anna looks in gameplay. I have a friend who is an Anna loyalist since way back in the day. So I've been asking him for input and advice, or, what are some things that he saw that I might not have caught. And he seems to be okay with Anna. There are some things that aren't really to his liking. Like it looks like they made her easier. It seems to be the trend that in Tekken 8, characters and the mechanics are a little bit easier for newer players to get into. We'll talk more about that very soon. But overall, from what I saw, Anna is looking cool. I like her. She's always been my favorite Williams sister. I'll be playing her 100%, making a guide, so be on the lookout for that. I'm excited to try out Anna. She has a lot of pretty crazy stuff, the freaking debuff effect, like you're in an RPG, Final Fantasy, causes chip damage if that's in effect. She has an incredible heat smash. I think 13 frame mid, and then breaks a wall, and then a running low attack that in heat causes like 64 damage or whatever the heck, and it's safe, I think it is. But we'll talk more about that later in another time. Now, skipping ahead into the video, let's go actually to the balance adjustments, because this is where things kind of started to go a little bit downhill, and I started to notice a lot of people complaining and voicing their dislikes about the game. Like I said, there's some things that they changed that I like, but some of the things are kind of, I don't know, they're a little bit weird. I'm gonna be honest. So here's the thing. Let me look at my notepad here. Timestamp. What the heck? Where is it? Starting off right here. So what you're gonna see here is probably one of the most unexpected changes that I didn't see coming at all. Is what they did is that they nerfed key charge, or essentially what they did is that they killed key charge setups. So what you're gonna see here is that if you've been playing Tekken, anytime you key charge, you gain counter hit properties, right? Your first attack after key charge comes out as a counter hit, and that allowed for some pretty cool setups. You know what I'm saying? So here, let me just play the video, right? So let's see.
So now let's go into some of the battle adjustments.
Alright, so listen. Watch what's gonna happen with Huarong when he activates Key Charge. Alright, watch.
And to alleviate some of the 50-50 mix-ups that were a bit overbearing, we changed the spec of the key charge.
Alright, watch. Alright, so as you can see right there, that used to counter hit. So Huarong would go into key charge and down back 3 or 4, and then that would allow him to have a combo from counter hit. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a setup. So watch what happens. It got taken away.
So for those who've been with the series for a while, you know when you key charge before, your first hit would be attributed as a counter hit.
So already that in itself is taking away an established mechanic that's been in Tekken for a long time, especially when it comes to player creativity. You know, you're thinking about characters like Huarong, Martial Law, Asuka, and really anybody else, right? If you were creative enough, you could invent or think of a key charge counter hit setup, and it would create these fun and creative moments during a match that were it was a way for you as a player to express your creativity and really explore how your character works. And it would have these really cool setups that maybe people have not seen. And especially like if you're playing in tournament on stream or whatever the heck, if you do a cool counter hit key charge setup, it creates for an awesome moment, especially if it's done during a major tournament and you just pull it out of nowhere. That's like your ace up your sleeve or whatever the heck you want to call it. Key charge setups were something that were not done often, but when they were done right, it created this moment of hype. You know what I'm saying? And it allowed for players to have a bunch of creativity in how they utilize their characters. You know, so there are some players out there who have been doing key charge setups as part of their routine gameplay for years now. It's been established and it's part of their key gameplay, and they only bring it out when they have to do it, you know, at a clutch moment to win a round or a match. And now that part of the game is gone. So I'm not, honestly, that was an interesting change. I don't know why they did that, and I don't like that they're eliminating a form of creativity. You know what I'm saying? It started back with, I think in Tekken 7, what happened is that one of the changes that they released is that cross-up attacks or like jump over attack setups were no longer possible with characters like Martial Law and whatever the heck. So this key charge setup being removed, it's a bit of it's weird. I'm not a fan of it because, like I said, I'm kind of repeating myself, but it does eliminate an aspect of the game that was fun for players who took time to explore the character and invent key charge setups. You know what I'm saying? So that part of the game is already removed. They removed that aspect of creativity, and it's whatever. Yeah, it's a interesting change. I don't know.
So if you're someone like me who likes to do that, to check out counter hit options.
On the other hand, I think what happens now is that if you key charge and do an attack, the attack will do a little bit more damage than normal. But like I said, it's not gonna allow for combos anymore. Oh man. So that was one change that was definitely interesting. Next up on the list, we have, let's see, right here. So one thing that they said is that combo realignment was made easier. So what they made sure to say is that, you know how sometimes you'll be off axis, you'll get a launcher, and then you'll have to do an off axis combo and improvise right there. So what's going to happen with this new season is that they have made moves realign a little bit easier, so your combos aren't off axis. So let's see if I think they pull it up here. Hold up.
Many of the attacks up until now, if you were just even slightly off axis, some of the other hits after that would whiff. with June, he was just showing an example of one of the combos that would live during partway through in season 1.
はい、シーズン2からは軸の
So essentially, you heard it right there from Michael Murray. To make combos a little bit easier, they're implementing realignment for combos, right? So if you're off axis and you do a launcher or whatever the heck, your character is going to realign a little bit better in order for you to actually do a combo, like a straightforward combo, if you want to call it that way, rather than an off axis combo. Excuse me, man. Sorry, guys. But what's going on here is that, again, this is a change that many people aren't happy with, because off-axis combos were part of the game. You know what I'm saying? There were players who practiced off-axis combos, so they're ready for any situation. And it also made sure that your adaptation skills were challenged, because if you're off-axis and you land a launcher, then you got to think up of a combo right there on the spot. If you weren't practicing, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's another way that players could express their creativity and freedom with combos, you know what I'm saying? So, and honestly, sometimes there were players who, you know, there were characters who have really cool off-axis combos that can lead into setups, you know, tech roll setups, whatever the heck. But now that the realignment option is in place, not really an option, it's in game, like you'll be able to realign now. That also eliminates that part of the game, you know. So off-axis combos will be a little bit not so much a thing anymore. But it seemed, again, they're kind of making things a bit simpler, you know what I'm saying? On the other hand, I gotta be honest and say that in a way, I'm actually a little bit happy for myself about this, because the characters I play, well, mostly Asusena, her off-axis combos are horrible. So in a way, I gotta be honest and admit that this change is gonna be good for certain characters. But overall, I understand and I get the frustration on how this is not a good change, because it does eliminate off-axis specific combos, setups, and things of that nature. You know, they already removed spikes from Tekken 8, you know, that led to guaranteed hits, so it looks like this is just another layer of that to make things a little bit more simple. So off-axis combos seem to be not a thing in most situations. And then what do we got here? You know, we saw June got some changes. Like, looks like her heat smash is just going to be done regularly now. You know, we got a little bit of a Lydia showcase, not much to be honest. We got gameplay on season 2. So what this is right here is just a brief demonstration on how gameplay for season 2 is going to look. Specifically, what they were doing here is they were showcasing how on screen it's going to indicate how much it's going to indicate punish, counter hit, combo details, all that. So as you can see right there, Asuka got a counter hit and it showed up as counter. So this was done as a way to help people visually see what's going on and understand the game a little bit better. It's the text is small, so it's not too distracting. It's out of the way. I believe that they said that it was going to be an optional thing, so you could turn it on and off. You know, during this set, we got a bit of a glimpse as to what Reina and Asuka are all about in season 2. Reina got a new low. She could do a stance transition into Heaven and Earth, I believe, or Heaven's Wrath, I think it's called. Asuka is looking stronger than ever. I don't know, dude. I think Asuka players have successfully convinced people that she's not a good character in season 1. She always has been, and I will 100% stand by that. Asuka has always been a good character in season 1, and in season 2 she's going to be even worse because of how much stronger she is. I will always believe that. But I made a video on that. That's a topic for another day if I want to cover it. Let's move on. Now, what do we got here? We got other character showcases. Touch on that later. Where things really... This one is probably one of the weirdest... I don't understand what Bandai Namco was thinking when they did this change. So let me actually let me go into this. All right. So we have king, right? Look at what they did. All right. So check this out. I'm gonna let Michael Murray speak for himself right here.
This is a free update.
常にパワーアップ
So
バ
what?
トルです
Hey, hey.
ヒート中は
I hope I got the timestamp right.
Also, during heat, regardless of how long.
ジャイアントスイングはまあホーミングじゃないんですけどヒート
All right. So to start off, Giant Swing and Shining Wizard will be homing, but what they did is that, come on, load.
かなりまあプロレスライクで
Positions.
2人のダメージ回復可能
Right there.
Jin's life gauge.
Okay, so here, Michael Murray. Watch Jin's life gauge. When he breaks a throw,
まあ
look what happens.
Look at Jin's life gauge.
Holy moly.
回復可能
He took chip damage from breaking a throw. Look at that.
回復可能体力でダメージが入る
That is crazy.
Does a slight damage to your opponent, even if they
That's insane, actually.
throw escape, but it's recoverable damage.
It's recoverable damage, but you're still taking damage from breaking a throw. Can this kill? Because they didn't mention that chip damage doesn't kill. But so I assume that's still the case, but that still sucks, dude.
はいこれがシーズン2全体
That sucks, honestly.
調整に関わる変更ですね
キングだけじゃないですよね。
はい全
That's
キャラクター
not just King, but all characters.
And you heard what he said. It's not just exclusive to King, but every character. That has made it's a thing for every character. So my bad, yo. Now here's the thing, right? I gotta be honest, like I don't think anybody's a fan of this change. I don't like it because what's happening here is that you are getting punished for having good defense in ways of a throw break. There are people, number one, throw breaks are already easier enough as it is in Tekken 8, but there are people who still practice throw breaks because there are command throws that have to be broken with the correct arm, with the correct hand. Excuse me. But now what they're doing is that they're punishing you for having good defensive throw breaks. That's crazy to me. That's actually crazy because now that's an easier way for your opponent to be offensive and be aggressive and have you as a defensive player be punished for it. If anything, honestly, it never even crossed my mind that they would even make a change like this. Never, not one time did in my head I think, you know what, like, if anything, if you want to play that game and have damage received for breaking a throw, it should be the opposite. It would make sense if it was the attacking player receiving the damage. So if you're King trying to do a giant swing and your opponent successfully breaks it, then King should receive the chip damage. I would be okay with that because you're doing a command throw that's borderline unseeable, high risk, or whatever the heck. If it gets broken successfully, then you should take damage. That would have made sense, and I would have been fine with that. Even if it was King exclusive, great. If it was across the entire cast, that'd be fine. You know, you're going for a command throw, and if your opponent has good defense, good throw break defense, and they break it, and you get and the attacking player receives the damage, that would be fine. It makes no sense for the defensive player to successfully break a throw and then have chip damage be received for having good defense. You know, you're basically rewarding the attacking player at this point, you know what I'm saying? And you're kind of encouraging them to do more throws, do more throws, do more throws, you know? It's basically like throw loops, except you're going to take chip damage. So does that, like, I'm wondering, does that apply for tackles? You know, like if Dragunov goes for a tackle and you break that, are you going to get chip damage for that? It's a throw, it's a grab, so I assume so. I don't know, man. Like this I don't know. I think out of all the changes that they showed in this Tekken talk, this one stuck out with me the most because it's like, dang, man. No, man, like dang, man, they're actually punishing you for having good defense. And I know that's kind of been like throw breaks, you know what I'm saying? So at this point, you know, like, are you as a player gonna be wanting to duck more to avoid throws or what? Because that broken throw chip damage could be the difference in you winning or losing a round. That's crazy. I don't know. I hope that this change gets reversed and like it doesn't make sense, to be honest. And if you, like I said, if you wanted to have damage by breaking a throw, it should go to the offensive player. King goes for Shining Wizard, you break it, all right, King receives chip damage. I'd be fine with that, like I said. But there's no reason for the game to punish you for having good throw breaks. I think that's weird as heck. I don't know why they did that, and hopefully they change that back. Maybe if we're vocal enough, they will, because this one in particular is just weird as heck. And it's weird because, like, you know, like the day before, you know, they had Michael Murray, Harada, and Nakatsuka, whatever the heck. They had an interview with Evo, the Evo channel, and they were saying how they were talking about how they want to focus more on defense. Well, the Tekken Talk Live didn't really cover the defensive options. They only showcased more aggressive things about their game, but no defensive talk. You know what I'm saying? Now, they did say that the patch notes will not be released until Season 2 drops. So, at the same time, you know, I'm looking at everything that they're showing us, and it's like, all right, yeah, I definitely see some things that I don't like, but I am trying to... I'm going to hold off a final verdict until the patch notes drop, because, you know, once we have the game with us, you know, we're able to play the game, maybe we'll see that the patch notes, you know, the patch notes will show more defensive options that can counter these things, you know what I'm saying? So, in a weird way, I don't know, dude. Yeah, dude, like a lot of some of the changes that we saw, they're questionable. It doesn't make no sense. You know, you're removing key charge setups, you're eliminating off-axis combos, you're giving damage for successfully breaking throws. Some characters, which I didn't cover in this video, got, you know, more offensive options. It's like, dang, man. Like, I'm wondering what the thought process was behind that. Some of these things, you know, damage for throw breaks, key charge removes, off-axis realignment, not a thing, or whatever the heck, right? I don't know, man. Like, Season 2 is going to be interesting. Oh, man, dude. Yeah, but a lot of the people are really unhappy with what they saw. Like I said, it's right in the middle for me. You know, some of the things I liked that I saw. You know, Asusana has some pretty nice new tools. But I guess until we get the full patch notes, we're not really going to know the full details on it. Some people are already like, I've seen enough, I don't need the patch notes, this game is dead, whatever. But at the end of the day, the patch notes will help and maybe clarify a few of these things and maybe showcase a few more defensive options that we might have. But I'm going to leave it here. Let me know what y'all thought. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe out there. Take care. And I'll see you in the next video.